Hello. There's a passage in the Bible that if you have read your Bible and are a churchgoer, then I'm sure you've come across it at some point. It's a passage in the book of Acts, a book that was written by Luke, an informative book, which describes what the new church was like after Jesus' death and resurrection and his ascension back into heaven. So it tells us about the beginnings, the forming of the church. And often the church throughout the world circles back to this passage and says, this is how church really should be. If I read you a little bit of it from Acts 2, and it says, day by day, they spent much time together in the temple. They broke bread at home and ate their food with glad and generous hearts, praising God and having the goodwill of all the people. And perhaps you, like me, have read that and thought, oh, that sounds wonderful. I think I've learned a new perspective on that after 100 days in lockdown. The disciples spent all their time together. And there are challenges in that as well as blessings. Now, they had a common purpose. Many of us are locked down with family, and we could say we have a common purpose, but it's not easy. But it is vital. And for those of us who are locked down alone, we need to find that support and be prepared to cope with that level of frustration and a diversity of different personalities and ways of living. Because only then will we find God amongst us as we're tolerant of one another, as we learn to live together. It's clear that even though lockdown is easing, the new normal won't include hugging, touching, being together. And for many of us, suddenly we find ourselves a little bit more lost than we thought we were, a little bit more at sea. This ground beneath us is not firm. And Leicester in the UK going back into lockdown has been a reminder that really nothing is as stable as we thought it was. And this could be our future. Perhaps our city or town or region will go back into lockdown. Perhaps at the end of the summer, when the autumn weather returns, we'll find ourselves once again back in our homes, furloughed or locked down, still unable to be with family and friends in the way that we wanted to be. And yet our future together means just that, being together. And perhaps those of us who are Christians, who have considered that going to church on a Sunday and reading our Bible is all that was required of us, need to reassess what future church will look like and raise the profile of being together. What does that mean? Living life together, sharing our thoughts and our hopes and our dreams and our concerns and our worries and our anxieties with one another, and praying for one another, being together in every sense, holding our brothers and sisters up in prayer. Only this way will we know what it was like for the first church, what God was creating in them and through them, and what God might create in and through us. What true church will look like in the future. In our society, we tend to be independent. It's looked on as a positive thing to be independent of others. God's society is not the same. We are each other's keepers. We are called to hold each other in prayer. We are designed to support one another and to think of others as better than ourselves. We've got lots of time at the moment to explore what that means. How might you be better connected with your brothers and sisters? Who needs to hear from you? Are you struggling at the moment? Do you need a Christian friend to talk with, to pray with? Be bold. We are supposed to be living together. We have to find a way to live together while still being separated. Keep safe.